Hey, welcome back to One Step Further, a faith-based podcast where we take things you might be doing or probably doing and take them a step further. I'm Justin Arnold.
And I am Brett Iwanowitz.
Yeah, and today's all about goals and visions, with it being 2020, and maybe we can guide you along. You might be already doing it, might be thinking you're doing it right. Hopefully this can help a few years, again, take your life a step further in 2020. And Brett,
and just take everything that we're saying with a grain of salt, but we're going to share some things with you that we've learned that work for us. It may not necessarily work for you, but I know Justin and I are both trying our hardest to be the best men. He's a husband, I'm not, I'm a dog owner, but to be the best
father,
sons, brothers that we can be, best business owners, and for us, serving other people. So what's the best way we can do that is by networking and learning and growing spiritually, physically.
Yeah, and if you get something from this, make sure you share, like, tag, all those things that get it out there, because we're not getting paid for this. We're just doing this to help you. We're taking out of our time to literally serve you guys, and hopefully it'll benefit from one of y'all. So
yeah, and we're kind of just shooting from the hip here, and that's just what we like to do. I think it's fun. This is all organic. So we might go off topic a little bit, but the first thing that I want to get started with you guys is just taking your goals and taking them one step further, which that's kind of corny. But the truth is, I want to give you an example, right? So I am part of Life in Air, and I actually brought this book. So this was a 3-day, they call it a 3-day getaway, or Get a Life getaway, where they
hey, it's all part
we got kids here too, where I'm going to keep rolling with this, where they take 3 days. It's a vision building course. Now, the cool thing is, what that allows people to do is dig a lot deeper, and what you find is on these 3-day courses that a lot of people come into this with an idea of what they want their future to look like or what they want their business to look like, and they leave with a whole completely different mindset, because a lot of times society, parents, friends, business partners all kind of create and have this idea of what they think our life should look like, and then we kind of mold our vision around what other people want, not what we really want. So I'm going to give you this is just simple example of getting more specific with a goal. So someone says, I want to spend more time with my kids, right? Or I want to spend more time with my wife, or I want to travel more.
Yeah.
So my question to you would be like, what does that look like? How many hours is that? Where would you like to go? What are you going to do? How will you make up that time somewhere else? Because if you want to spend more time with your kids, you have to take that time from something else. So getting specific with every area of your life and writing that out, because the truth is most people fail with their visions for 2020 or whatever year it is, because number one, they're very general. Number two, they're trying to do 10 different things all at the same time, and you can only build on one thing at a time. So if there's one area that you want to work on specifically, get better at that thing, master it, and move on to the next one.
Do you mind if I chime in here? Yeah, so
No, you can't.
So he gets going and he gets good. I love what Brett had to share. No, but for example, I posted this a couple days ago on my Instagram account about I get this all the time. I want to lose 10 pounds, 20, 50, whatever your health goals. But that's like what he's talking about, surface level stuff. He wants people to go deeper. And so do I. And if your goals are health and you're listening to this, if you want to lose weight, have more energy, get jacked, whatever they might be within the health and wellness, get a cleaner gut, it always takes bigger, deeper reasons. For example, I want to lose 10 pounds because that will help me move better so I can play with my children and have a more fulfilling life. You can go deeper than that as well, but then you're thinking, man, I want to be able to play with my 12-year-old. And then go from the professional. I want to be able to play with my 12-year-old could be the deeper reason why you're doing something else to further your career or take better vacations. So I was just trying to give you a breakdown of what it means. Don't say anymore, I want to lose weight. Say, I want to lose weight because.
Or you said, what does it taste like? What does it feel like?
What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What does it look like? Close your eyes and envision yourself in your fittest, most jacked, most amazing self and all the things that you're doing. No, do it. Literally, that's what we do. In the weight room, before we go lift a weight, is I close my eyes, I envision me actually pulling that weight up or pushing that weight or doing that exercise, and it 9 times out of 10 usually happens the way I want it to happen. So
yeah, and I think one of the things too, I don't know if this is going off topic a little bit, but Justin and I were talking in the gym yesterday, and he mentioned that there's this common misconception that business owners have to make sacrifices for, we'll say, the greater good. And what do I mean by that? And there's also this term on Instagram and Facebook and all these social accounts now that talk about hustling, hustling 24/7, right? And the truth is, if you have to hustle that hard, you're hustling at the wrong things, because on an average work day, people are only working 3 to 4 hours in those 8 hours, and they're getting their jobs done.
Yeah, before we started this podcast, we really broke it down, and like people are like, well, I don't have time or whatever. So like you look at a 24-hour cycle. So the thing about the difference between you and a multimillionaire or the fittest person in life, we all are the same thing. Is we all have the same 24 hours. It's just what you do with it. So if you're working 8 hours, well, and you're even sleeping 7 hours, well, you still have, depending on what you sleep, you still have like anywhere from like 15 or so hours to do something. Or if you're working 8 hours, you're sleeping 8 hours, that's 16 hours. Well, how many more hours do you have left? You have plenty of time. There's 8 hours that you're not doing anything. Okay, take away 2 hours that you're with your family or doing something like book reading. Well, there's still some time there as well. So break it down and really look at how you're using your time and using it wisely. So
yeah, and getting that specific, if you say, well, I want to spend more time with my kids, and you can get that down to the hour or down to the minute, you can then go and time block that into your calendar. One of the things on my vision is making sure that I'm cultivating relationships. And what that looks like to me is, well, number one, I'm learning that you have to be extremely intentional, even with your friends and your family, because we all get busy, and we could easily make excuses like, well, I didn't have enough time. So I have a day, one day a month where I have completely blocked out the day to call people. So that's just being intentional, because I want to make sure that I'm continuing to cultivate my personal relationships and business relationships, and that doesn't allow me to make an excuse because it's in my calendar and I'm not forgetting about it.
Yeah, so we're not saying don't hang out with friends or build a relationship. We're just making sure they're quality.
Yep.
Like something, and I wrote it down here, and I'll bring it up, is you could take a piece of paper and block it off into 4 different blocks. So look at an activity or something you're currently doing in your life, and write down these things. And in the left-hand corner, write down positive now. In the right-hand corner, write down negative now. In the bottom, a few lines down, write down positive later, and then write down negative later. And write down whatever that is, say hanging out with friends, drinking with friends on a Friday night. Well, that might feel good now, but is that going to get you closer to your goals? Or is it keeping you away from your family? Or any of this building towards a better you, a better life, a better family, a better career? So, and then you break that down, and then when you get rid of those things that are either negative now or negative later, you'll feel that release. Say high school friends, if they're not motivating you, if they're not passionate, if they're not as ambitious as you going towards your goals, or if they're like, you'll never do that, then that's not only a negative now, that's definitely a negative later. And then that's the thing, when you release it, when you're tied in with those things, it feels like a prison. And once you get rid of it, once you get rid of those friends or that drinking out at night, it might hurt it initially, but you're going to feel that release.
I actually really like that, because someone sent, so you can think of your vision. So if you create a vision for every area of your life, your health, your friends, your fitness, your family, charitable, I actually have a vision, like this book goes through like every part of your life that I just mentioned and more. And what that looks like, you guys know what a funnel looks like. So you have a funnel to funnel oil into your cards, kind of looks like a triangle, and you pour liquid into it, it comes out the bottom. It just goes bigger and gets smaller. That's exactly what he's talking about. That's a funnel. Because what you're doing is having something come into that funnel, and that's basically the decision-making process to say yes or no. So I'll give you a perfect example. Someone says, hey, Brett, I got this massive commercial building. You can make $1 million on it. And in order for me to do that, it's going to take away from my travel time. So if traveling is more important in my vision, and there's nowhere in my vision says anything about buying a commercial building and taking a year out of my time to renovate this building, then I'm going to say no, because I'm funneling that through my vision. And the truth is, to even get to that point of being able to do that, there's a lot more steps that you have to take, which that's some financial things, like getting yourself to a financial position to say no. But the truth is, like, you have to have that vision and funnel that, because that wouldn't fit my vision. So if I said yes, that strips away everything that I'm working so hard to maintain and cultivate.
That. And that's where Brett's amazing at, because like he's able to do that and not get distracted. Or, I think it's great. You might have heard my kids in the background, and this just shows life's going to throw you curveballs, especially if you're a parent or a father. It doesn't mean we stop doing what we're doing. It just means that's another reason to motivate us to get to where we want. But it's always like life's gonna, stop making those excuses that this is in my way or this is not, keep going with your visions, your goals, and just like he said, funnel it through systems like this that just keep you going on. So
And this goes on to the big thing that why I started to talk about was making sacrifices. Like if you have a clear vision and you're intentional about maintaining that vision, you don't have to make sacrifices. But what happens is, and I wrote this down and I scribbled this, so I'm probably I just want to read it. The idea of having to make sacrifice is a lie. The reality is that we choose a lifestyle that requires us to make sacrifices for everything we are working so hard for. So like most entrepreneurs or business owners, they say, well, I'm working hard for you guys. I'm doing it for my wife and for my kids. But really what they're doing is for their own selfish needs. And what happens is when businesses start to make more money, they increase their spending. So if you can maintain a budget, you don't have to make sacrifices to take that time away from family. People decide to take that money that they make and buy a bigger house or buy a bigger car, right? So we're choosing these things. We're choosing a lifestyle. We're literally choosing a lifestyle above what we're saying that we love the most, our family and our kids. And we trick ourselves by saying we need to do this. And I think that's something a lot of people really, really need to reflect on, because it's a lie, and we sabotage relationships on purpose.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about pretty regularly. But like people look at like society's way of getting there, and you hear that grind that we've already talked about, and they think they have to do all these things to get there and make these sacrifices. But what are you really doing it all for? And that's what, like, I want to give that perspective. So something I did this year, prior to the new year, I was writing down my goals, my visions, and where I wanted to see 2020 to go. And then I was like, you know what? I need to include my kids. So I included my kids and my wife, and we all sat down together, and I asked them a series of questions. And I asked them things like, what are things you want me to continue doing that I'm doing really good at? What are things that you'd like me to stop? What are things you want me to start? What do you think you want me to stop doing? A few other questions. What are some things you guys want to do this year? Travel? Like, just got it all on board so that because it can't be mine anymore. And that's the thing. It's got to be ours. And that's it, the difference between wife. Now, you can still have your personal things, your personal time, personal development. But when you have a wife, when you have a kids, that's going to lead to a more fulfilling life when you're including them into it and they're a part of it. And then they feel a part of it. I mean, now my kids are holding me accountable. Like, let's be honest, cell phones. One of the things, they'd like to see me off my cell phone at 8 o'clock, and my kids are checking me on that. So I just added 4 accountability partners. They were kind of there, but they're a whole nother level. So, but just be ready. So just be ready. You're gonna have some more accountability on that level.
And one of the things that I absolutely despise about our culture is that we look at success in a dollar amount. We're like, it's a balance sheet, and we need to. I just read a post like 20 minutes ago about a high school student putting down another high school student for working minimum wage. And
that's a starting point, yeah.
Well, exactly. She's learning the skills she needs to be successful. But this other high school student who was a popular was like making fun of the girl for having a minimum wage job. She didn't look that. She says she's minimum wage. She's not successful. So our culture looks at business owners or just across the board as like having things is successful.
Yeah.
But that you can't measure success by
toys and money.
Like if
because
you're
there's
doing
faith success, there's personal success, there's relationship. If you're lonely and surrounded by millions of dollars and the nicest things, but if you're lonely, depressed, and you're not, to us, looking to a higher power, then you're broke.
If you're making $30,000 a year and you're doing what you love, that's successful.
You're able to pay your bills, you drive a decent car. There's a great book for those that are faith-based. Even if you're not, I think this is a great book. It's called Saved from Success by Dale Partridge. Quick read, check it out. It talks about some of these things like society and then what real success. This guy was a multimillionaire in the fitness world, did all these amazing things, but he was unhealthy. Kind of ironic in the health. His marriage and his kids were crumbling. He talks about this all in the book, but it's exactly what we're kind of talking about. And it's a quick, for those that don't like to read, boom, this is like a 2-3 day read. So there's a prime example, but keep it going, Brett, keep it going.
No, I think that's awesome. I mean, I'd like to kind of come away with some takeaways. Is I think some of the most important things that we talked about. Number one is it took me like 6 months to actually write my vision out. It's not easy. It's
No.
not easy because you're like a lot of people stay busy because they don't want to look and see what's really inside here because they have to really see the type of person they become. And most people aren't willing to go there because they really don't like themselves, and that's why they work so hard so they don't have to deal with things.
And I think that's a good point. I think people stay busy because they don't know what they want. And
Yep.
and I think just think about like, and maybe you could do this, just like that, paint a picture of like with no strings attached kind of life, and not toys or money, but like as if you didn't have that, like people that you want to be around with. Like close your eyes, like, and just meditate on like what you want to be doing. You know what everything around you that wants to look like, and then start breaking it down. And then if you
Yeah.
don't know, like we both have mentors and coaches in our life that guide us, because it's good to surround yourself. Like Brett and I have become great friends, which has led to this podcast, which has hopefully spread out and create a domino effect to lead to greater things in your all's life. So that's the biggest thing. Like write out, you know, at the end, and then start breaking it down. Say you want to be like, here, what's a great example of something you could see?
Well,
Give yours maybe a little
Well, I'll
bit.
just give you an example. Like the first time I went and met with my coach in my mastermind group, like I did a deep dive, and by the end of it, everyone was looking at me like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And it's like they didn't say what the hell is wrong with me, but they're literally like, "Brett, what are you doing, man?" Because I was so distracted by all the new things, what everyone else is doing, you know,
Yes.
and I'm like, I couldn't, you know, I was doing videos. They didn't know if I was a marketer. They didn't know if I was in real estate. They didn't know if I mean, no one knew what I did. And it's, what did I tell you the other day? If you're unclear, or how does it go? If you're, about communicating your message. There was
Yeah, if I can't remember exact words, but yeah, if you're unclear about your message, just people aren't going to know what
yeah,
you're
you're,
doing.
I can't remember, but
And
it's
I
like,
like-
you die. Like, if you, like, you're not going to be profitable if people don't know exactly what you do. So
Yeah.
for me, I had to cut off all the crap, all the other people, what they're doing. I mean, I haven't actively purchased much of any real estate in the past 4 months, and watching my friends buy because I'm working on a foundation and building on
And I
it.
think that's the thing. Don't get distracted because like what you're doing isn't what someone else is doing. Like from a faith perspective, God made you so unique. He made you exactly for your purposes, and you're not fulfilling your purpose on your life. Everyone else, including yourself, is missing out around it. And so you got to really think about that. And it's, you got to remember what you're doing is unique. Don't be the norm. Don't be like everybody else. Be you. And cultivate from that. God gave you unique gifts. Don't be like, well, I'm not organized, or I'm not this, or I'm not that, or I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, maybe those aren't your skills and talents, and you need to get better at them, of course. But like, look at what your skills and talents are. Like, obviously, I'm energetic. I'm a fireball, and so I utilize that.
Yeah, next to him, I look like I'm dead.
Yeah, when I was
He's like,
younger, I was told that this was a bad thing. Calm down, pay attention. Like, don't be so hyper. Don't be that. Like, that's another good point. Like, what people might say is your negative could be actually your positive. You just
Yeah.
need to cultivate that, and filter that into an activity or a skill or a career.
All right, so we're on time.
Yeah.
So get specific. What else? Get specific.
Get
on-
specific. Get a clear vision. Like, why? Like something that. Think about Christmas Day when you get so excited for a present. Think like that.
Yeah.
And
One of the things he said too, if you could, a best way to actually figure out the thing you want is like sit down and just journal what your life would look like if money wasn't an object. Like, what would you really want your money to look like? And then just trim the fat off.
And
from
like,
there.
if you go to my Instagram, I wrote down like, if somebody gave you all the money to give you the best training, or if you knew that you were going to die in 6 months, what would you do? So kind of put that in whatever your goals might be. If somebody gave you everything, or if you knew that your life was going to end soon, what would you do with that? So it creates action.
And then how do you know you're making the right decision? Well, Justin, maybe he can share that little box, the 4 quadrants that he just talked about. But every decision in your life and in your business, if you don't funnel it through that vision, then you're not living the life that you say you want. So either your vision isn't.
Can you see that? No, you can't really see that.
Either your vision's incorrect, or you really don't know what you want yet, and you still got to work on
If
that.
you feel like you're in a prison, then it's not where it wants to be. Get released. And so that's our challenge, correct? That's our challenge. But we want a faith-based challenge for this week. So if you've been following
Scripture.
us, so just, scripture was something I started doing. I picked out favorite scriptures, and I started putting sticky notes all over the house.
It's not what I meant, but,
yeah.
that's a good. No, what I meant was
that was my
what,
challenge.
what
That's your
scripture can you think of from Proverbs that is aligned with what we're saying today?
You calling me out?
I'm calling you out, bro.
Oh,
what do you
man.
think? Do you know? Proverbs. No? A
I
man
lose
without
this
a
stuff.
man without vision shall surely perish.
See, even
Perish
God's
means
telling you.
die. If you don't know what perish means. So if you don't have a vision,
Hi, Ellen.
you will die.
Again, life's gonna happen. Children will be in the picture. May not be exactly the way you want it, and that's fine, but don't let it keep you from doing what you're meant to do, including looking like this.
All right, you guys, thanks
Peace
so
out.
much for watching. Like Justin said, if you like what you heard, like it, share it with your friends. If you have anything you want us to talk about, leave it in the comment section below. If you want to be on the show, if you have a message, you want to share, do you have a message you want to share? No.
If you need help and direction, reach out to Brett or I. You know, we're glad to help you out. You know, we want to see people succeed in 2020 and beyond, of course.
Awesome. Well, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Bye.
And don't forget to put that big fat thumbs up.
Big fat thumbs up, yeah.